Hello and welcome back to another episode of the On the Sideline podcast with Jackson and Kyle. I am joined here, as always, by the man who can throw as well as Patrick Mahomes with his left hand. Kyle, how are you doing?
That's debatable. I'm doing great. Great day of football. Actually, great day of sports, starting off with Lewis Hamilton delivering maybe the best drive in Formula One history, followed
Pumped
by,
up about that.
I know you're pumped, followed by great NFL action. We even got a tie.
Yes. And Kyle,
So,
how upset are you with the tie? It was on your game. We've established this last year. Ties count as a miss in the Pick'em show. How frustrated are you that you still get a point for that?
I'm just so proud of Dan Campbell. My guy.
Okay.
Do you endorse him as president yet?
I don't know his policies. Maybe.
Well, you should just get behind his policies no matter what.
Okay, I guess so. I need to start that. We're getting off track already. Thank you to everyone who is currently live. We're going to, as we always do, recap the Sunday night game. We had I thought a very fun one, even though it was a blowout. Kyle, scale of 1 to 10, 10 being all the way back, 1 being not back at all. How back are the Chiefs?
Mildly back. I mean, I would say they're back. I mean, I didn't want to overreact too much that they left. I mean, there's still things I have a problem with this team. I thought the defense played pretty well in this game. The shocking thing to me in this one was that the Raiders looked at 9 weeks of tape on the Kansas City Chiefs of all these teams playing this 2 deep safeties look with, a second person shading over the top of Tyreek Hill. And they looked at that and said, you know what? I think we're good. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do any of that.
In fairness, they did try a little bit, but they got away from it once it started only doing okay.
Yeah, and I thought the Chiefs actually did a pretty good job of managing the game early on, going to the checkdowns. I mean, poor Travis Kelce was basically abusing Max Crosby in there with those stupid, basically, let me just turn off this block and get a 10-yard reception off of it. I mean, there's nothing Crosby can do in that situation unless he's anticipating the throw, but he hit him with it like 3 or 4 times in this game. But yeah, I mean, I thought the Chiefs did pretty good. They look good again, and I wasn't going to overreact and say they're the worst team in football or anything like that, or they're the worst team in their division. Just like that, they're winning the AFC West.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy to think that the Chiefs are currently leading their division, which is considered by many to be the toughest division in football. It's kind of a wild situation. I think bearing the lead a little bit, Kyle, maybe the most confusing story I have. Why the hell was there a pair of scissors on the turf? And Chris Collinsworth was like, oh yeah, it looks like there's scissors there. Like, wait, what? Why is there scissors? Like, why are you so nonchalantly talking about scissors in the middle of a football field?
Someone was ready to shank someone, I guess.
I guess so.
This prison yard scene. Someone posted on Twitter, I think I saw that, like, they thought it was like trainers have them all the time. But like, why would trainers run onto the field with scissors? You're not cutting anyone's tape on there.
Should be running with scissors in general.
I mean, fair enough. Somebody listened to their parents.
Yeah. No, I mean, okay, back to the game. Yeah, I thought it was really impressive performance by the Chiefs. I think that they, the Raiders had some questionable decisions in the defense for sure, but Kansas City took advantage, and they even played well against the cover too. This is the Chiefs that we know, and even with, I think kind of maybe the highlight of the night was Mahomes just chucking one up in a one-on, basically throwing one directly to Jonathan Abram for him to get boxed out by Darrell Williams, their backup running back, to get the big touchdown right there. That kind of just, I think, really just that's Jonathan Abram's career in one play, I feel like.
Yeah, I gotta say, I really don't enjoy watching him play football. I do and I don't, because he's a complete lunatic, but at the same time, it's not in a good way sometimes. And I heard there's a lot of Raiders fans in our mentions when we said this during the offseason, saying that I forgot who their other safety was. He was bad too, before Murray came in. And, he was trying to make up a lot of his mistakes. Well, he's still making mistakes. He was responsible for at least 2 touchdowns in this game. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of his game. His work. Right. I got to say that I'm a little concerned about the Raiders. I'm concerned about this team. It's got the bad juju vibes, and there were some mistakes made in this game. I thought Derek Carr despite starting electric, made some really dumb throws in this game.
Mm-hmm.
The punt throw was kind of odd.
I thought it was. I understood it. I get it. It's 3rd down and 7. You're throwing. It was legitimately just an arm punt. It was 3rd down and 7. I'm just going to chuck one up and hope for the best.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like I don't know. It just I'd have to see the whole play, but it just seems like that seems like a situation where there's still other opportunities to get the first down. I feel like it just throwing it up. I don't know, but either way, it was a bad. It kind of just derailed. They got off to a
Mm-hmm.
slow start and it kind of just went downhill from there. But it's just like, can this team recover with everything it's had going on this season?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you got to think about the Raiders. I mean, they're playing with guys who they didn't realize what a starting corner they thought heading into the season is now no longer there. Maybe their number one receiver is now gone. Their coach is gone. So like they're playing with a completely different style. And the flip side is Kansas City Chiefs defense has also woken up a little bit. I mean,
Yeah.
you could say, hey, last week was Jordan Love. Still held them to 7 points. They held the Giants, who have had some success on offense, to 17 points. Again, we grade these on a scale, right? So it's or on a curve. So we don't expect the Chiefs defense to be spectacular, but if it could just play solid like it has, that could be a big upgrade as well.
Yeah, exactly. And same thing as it was last week. As soon as they moved Chris Jones back to defensive tackle, I feel like it's
Mm-hmm.
made a huge difference. So, yeah, I mean, I, I bet. I mean, it's basically back to being the best team in the AFC West, right?
Yeah, I'm probably. I mean, I think so. I think the other team, every team has issues in the AFC West, but you have I think maybe the Raiders are the one team I would still say could challenge. I know this week wasn't great, but there's still some hope there. But probably, how about Deshaun Jackson forgetting which way the end zone is? That was an odd play where he catches it past the defense and then tries to juke him out, ends up fumbling the football. Not great there. Also, thoughts on Derek Carr's performance? I thought Carr was like, I mean, it's just tough. He didn't. He wasn't spectacular, but also it was a tough situation for him to be in.
I thought he was solid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they definitely didn't lose this game because Derek Carr or anything like that,
Right.
And there was a whole lot of issues that went into this game on the Raiders side. I thought he was solid. It definitely wasn't his fault. I thought he had some bad throws, and I thought he still had some really good throws.
Yeah, Raiders are one of the biggest wild cards, and kind of the Chiefs are as well. Chiefs play Dallas next week. That should be a real fun matchup.
Yeah, not looking forward to picking that one. That one's going to be a mess.
Right. Any final thoughts on this one, or you want to move on?
We can move on. I mean, I think we just about covered it this one.
Mhm.
I'm interested in seeing, this is going to be kind of a gut check time, I feel like, for the Raiders. Because if this turns into 3 in a row, 4 in a row, then you got to think the season just kind of got lost in all of this.
Yeah. Then again, you can say that about like the past several seasons for the Raiders.
Well, that's true. But I mean, at least you can say, hey, our coach quit because of
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff. And then we lost 2 key important players based on, some off the field stuff. So it's, I understand it a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. All right. So our next segment, this is something you wanted to do. We're going to do a draft style of the top 10 AFC teams that could go to the Super Bowl. We're going to do this before we preview the rest of the games. Kyle, do you want to go first with this draft, or you want me to go first?
You can go ahead and go first. I'll let you take the reins.
Ooh, okay. Putting me on the spot here because there isn't a clear favorite, right? And the one team that you would say is the favorite is the Tennessee Titans, but obviously the Derrick Henry injury kind of makes that tough. I think I gotta go Buffalo here. I just feel like when Buffalo is on, I don't think anyone can beat them. They haven't been on as much this season, but I trust them to turn it around a little bit.
Yeah, I think I agree with that pick. This is what makes this so interesting is that it's just like, you go through these teams and it's like every one of them, I feel like you can poke a little hole through them. You can poke a hole through the Baltimore defense. You can poke a hole through the Titans offense now. You can, poke a hole through, Patriots inexperience on offense. The Steelers are bad. That's a big hole. So
Mm-hmm.
I think the Bills are the safest pick because their one hole is that they're inconsistent. But you think the ceiling of this team is way higher than everybody else.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's my point. Is like they have the highest ceiling, I would say. All right,
Yeah.
number 2 pick. Where are you going?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Titans here. Like I said,
Hmm.
I think there's so many holes with every other team that you go through here that I think it's the safe pick to pick Tennessee next. I still think as they get more reps and they figure this out, because I mean it was such a huge part of their offense with Derrick Henry. I think once they figure this stuff out with their offense, it's gonna be fine. Now they need Julio Jones on the field.
Well, right. That's the other issue is like, how much is there to really figure out? It's kind of a tough spot when you're losing your best player. Maybe we can talk about that more when we preview the Saints game. You want me to give my next pick here?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Let's see. I think I'm going to
You
you
know
know
who it
what?
is.
This might be a bit of a shock. Give me Kansas City. Again, if we're talking which team has the highest odds to go to the Super Bowl, their ceiling is probably best out of any of these teams. Now, they really struggled with consistency, but give me the team that has the high potential. I know a lot of people in the chat probably aren't going to love this pick, but I think give me Kansas City here.
Yeah, I agree. There's two teams here that I feel like I feel pretty confident are 3 and 4 in the AFC, and they're
Hmm.
probably not the team that people are thinking should be next on this list. And I think Kansas City is one of those because, like you said, the offense still has the potential to kind of light teams up. And like we were talking about in the Sunday night recap, it's you know, if this defense can play good enough and it still has playmakers on this defense, if it plays good enough, this team's going to be really hard to beat.
Yeah, I agree. And also, a weird thing we didn't talk about. There's kind of a weird chance like Mahomes could actually win MVP this year, which would be
Yeah.
hilarious because he has the bulk stats and like if he could go off, that would be a fun little wrinkle. All right, number 4, where are you going?
Uh, I'm going here. I'm going
All
New
right.
England. I'm going New
Uh-huh.
England at number 4. This is the best defense in the AFC. I think by maybe outside of Buffalo, but I think by a mile, those are the top 2 of the AFC right now that I've seen. This team is just swallowing up. I mean, it's taking quarterbacks off the field left and right. Matthew Judon's playing at a defensive player of the year level. I think that this team is just dominating opponents on the defensive line, and the offense getting better by the week. We have 2 legitimate running backs. The offensive line has been fantastic, and Trent Brown coming back is a huge thing. And then Mac Jones has kept continue to improve and get better. So I'm going with the Patriots at 4.
Yeah, like this mac and cheese is inevitable. Yeah, I was half expecting you to bring some mac and cheese for this show, Kyle. I thought that could happen. It might be a hot take to say Judon is playing at a defensive player of the year level. That might be a bit warm.
I mean, there's a few guys. I mean, he's not the favorite,
No,
but at the same time, like I do think if you were to make a list of 10, it'd be hard to get him off, keep him off that like group of 10.
maybe. I just looked it up. Pro Football Focus, who we love, 49th rated edge rusher Matthew Judon.
Well, I disagree with that.
Okay, that's fine. They're not perfect. Listen, we can disagree. I think he is playing very well, though. Again, this is always one of my favorite things of you, Kyle, where you'll be right on a take, but you'll just go like one notch too far. This was
Yeah.
the famous like Stephon Gilmore argument we had from years back, where
Yeah.
you were right on Stephon Gilmore being highly underrated, but then you said he deserved Defensive Player of the Year over 22 sack Aaron Donald, and that's like the way you do this.
Yeah, that's how we first started talking about football together because I said
Yeah,
Gilmore was the best defensive player in football.
that's
Turns
right.
out I was
That's
right.
indirectly, but I don't know if we let's move on. All right. Listen, the Patriots are playing very well. We'll maybe touch on it a bit more once we get to them, but they're legit. They're a championship contender. I don't disagree. Number 5 here. I mean, I feel like kind of a bit of a. I feel like this is a bit of a steal here at 5. Give me the Baltimore Ravens.
Hmm.
Baltimore Ravens. They're 6-3, so they have the best record available out of the remaining teams. And again, as long as they're not playing teams that play primarily man coverage, they're going to win a lot of football games. The issue is there is that hole, but you just hope that maybe if they can find the right matchups in the playoffs, maybe good things can happen.
Yeah, I mean, I do think Baltimore's a really good team, but I think it's an incomplete team, and that's why I think the injuries in the secondary have taken a toll, and that's why I didn't pick them here. But I think that's a good steal at 5. Still, I agree. Want me to just move off that, or do you want to?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So now we have a group of teams here to pick from number 6, and I'm still going to pick this team. I believe in this team still. It didn't look good today, but I'm going with the Cleveland Browns. I
Hmm.
still think Cleveland has some players, and I mean, in all honesty, they might have the best defensive player in football with Myles Garrett too. So I think that I think this is a pretty good group to get here at 6.
Yeah, I think so. They're an interesting team. They definitely are a team that, and again, we'll talk about it more when we get into that game as well. They're a team that I just feel like there's no way this team should be 5-5. This roster is too good, but at the same time, like they have some winning to do, and like they're not going to get a bye at this point, right? Like you're not going to get a bye at 12-5. You're not going to get the 1 seed with that. So there's a lot of talent here. I don't hate this pick at 6 though. Want me to move on now?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, give me. You know what? They had a bad week. We just saw it. Give me the Raiders. I'll stick with the Raiders. Again, we've seen what they can do when they're on, and that's kind of the way I'm viewing it with these teams. Is which teams can get hot. We've seen their defense play a lot better than they just played. We've seen Derek Carr play a lot better than he just played, and as we said, he wasn't horrible either. So I'll go Raiders here.
I think that's the right pick, just because I think talent-wise, that team has more talent than anybody else on the board.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with that one. And I think the team with the next most pure talent on the board from top to bottom of the roster is the Indianapolis Colts at 5-5. So I'm going to take them at number 8. I still just kind of believe in that team. I think the problem is that the Bengals and the Chargers are at least a year away. And I just don't know if that's a team that's going to win the AFC, where I see a kind of a path where the Colts can do that.
Interesting, yeah, and I like how we just completely brushed over the Steelers too, even though their record is what it is. We're just like, yeah, I mean, they're not the Steelers, which I think
they won't
is fair.
Make my top 10. I refuse. So don't worry.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure if they would make my top like 13 in the AFC with the Steelers. Well, anyways, yeah, I like the Colts. The Colts are. I didn't realize they were 5-5 because I know they keep losing these games, but they are a team that is fascinating to me. I think their defense is it's really not great, and again. I think the Jets game, it's like, how do you do that? There's some issues with the Colts, but there's going to be issues with any team this far down the list.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. So, all right, 2 more. Who do you got here at number 9?
All right. So I think the 2 choices left are probably the Chargers and the Bengals. Give me, 2 quarterbacks that were hyped up. Give me the better quarterback. Some Bengals fans will be mad. Give me the Chargers. I think that I'll take Justin Herbert. I'll take the guy who can, potentially do something. I don't think either of these teams will win the Super Bowl, but I'll go Chargers here.
I agree that these are probably the 2 teams left, unless you want to get really crazy and throw the Broncos in there. I do not. So I think that's the right pick there, just because the ceiling of Herbert, obviously, he can be one of those guys that kind of just goes nuclear, and all of a sudden the team's in the, making a playoff run. But that being said, I think Burrow can kind of be in that category too. And dare I say, of this group, he might have the best receiver. So Jamar Chase has obviously been awesome. I really like that connection. And so, yeah, I'll take the Bengals at 10, and that leaves off the Broncos and the Steelers.
Yeah, I think that's fair. All right, fun list. Maybe we'll do the NFC sometime, down the line.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, we can definitely do that. So
yeah, I mean, we don't want to spend the whole show doing this, so maybe next week or something. I don't know. You want to get back into the games now, back into the recaps?
Yeah, what you got?
All right, let's go with. I mean, let's rip off the Band-Aid here. This was a tough loss, Kyle. My Buccaneers losing by 10 points to the Balls. I locked the Buccaneers up -9.5. If it was +9.5, they still wouldn't have been able to get it done.
Yeah, this was kind of weird, wasn't it? It was just like I don't even know how to describe it. It was just like they fell behind early, and then it just seemed like it was inevitable that they were going to come back and win, and they just didn't come back and win. It just seemed like Washington was able to control this game and move the football.
Yeah, Kyle, I have to say I've broken out the oversized beer mug for this one due to the disaster that happened.
Can't say I blame you for that. Definitely been there. I got the Victory whiskey, although don't credit me too much for the whiskey because I was out of Buffalo Trace, so I had to go to Jack Daniels, but that's a nice alternative.
Okay, yeah. The always a sad sight when I have to break out the comedically oversized beer mug. Never good there. Well,
do you have to 2-hand that thing, or can you 1-hand it?
I think I can 1-hand it. I think that it's the issue is I have like a lot of my keyboard is right in front and everything. And I have this microphone's $400. I don't want to spill it on here.
That's fair. No, I got a really nice Patriots mug that's kind of like that. But that's the problem is like when I'm watching football, I usually have this. I have my fantasy scores up here, and I don't
Mhm.
want to like have to deal with like spilling a giant beer mug all over myself.
Yeah, yeah. It's only I only break this one out for what's the opposite of a special occasion, a horrific occasion, which happened basically every time we played the Washington football team slash Redskins slash Balls. Because there was I remember a few years back with Ryan Fitzpatrick, we had a 500-yard offensive performance where we scored 3 points. That was one of the all-time weird games. We blew a 24-point lead to Kirk Cousins not too long ago. So for whatever reason, Washington nearly beat us in the playoffs as well. They seem to have our number. I mean, this it's kind of this narrative that's happened a lot with these elite quarterbacks is you start playing cover two, these teams don't have as much success. I thought the Buccaneers did some well. There was literally one play where Mike Evans had a one-on-one matchup. He scored a long touchdown on it. Like Washington took away Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin, he got some touches here, but that's basically all they had. A lot of drops by the halfbacks. Weirdly, Brady's getting a lot of criticism for this. I'm assuming it's from people who didn't watch the game. I actually thought he played fine, but it was, there were several drops, including one that was literally in Jalen Dardine's hands. It got bounced up and ended up being an interception. It was a frustrating loss, and they have to figure out a way to beat this cover two defense better. And one way to do that might just be getting Gronkowski and Antonio Brown back. That could be a key start.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall they're going to be fine because Brady just kind of figures these things out. I don't think he can beat him with consistent looks like this. They were probably just looking forward to the Man in the Arena to premiere too much, and that's pretty much what derailed the game.
Probably. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like the first pick was obviously fluky, and that gave Washington the lead or the great field position. And then it looked like the second one I didn't see it too well, but it looked like it sailed on him a little. And then
I thought it was a miscommunication. I meant to watch the press conference afterwards. Maybe let us know if they know. It looked like some sort of miscommunication to me.
Well, Arian said that both of them were on Tom, which was kind of funny because the one popped out of Tyler Johnson's hands. Or was it Tyler Johnson?
No, Jalen Dardine.
Yeah.
The guy we drafted in the 4th round, mostly to be a kick returner.
Yeah, it literally just popped right out of his hands. I don't know how that's Brady's fault. Anyway, I thought after that though he was pretty good. I thought Fournette was good in this game, but you got to give credit to Washington because I thought they did some really good stuff in this one too. I thought DeAndre Carter had a really nice game. He only had 3 catches, but I thought they were impact catches. McLaurin continues to do his thing, and Heineke played pretty well in this one. I mean, he takes some dumb sacks because he runs around like a chicken with his head cut off in the backfield sometimes. But for the most part, I thought he had a pretty good game.
Yeah, I mean, listen, so to talk about the whole game as a whole, I think kind of the biggest thing that happened in this one, Tampa Bay gets this strip, or it was a forced fumble by Levante David, who's one of the best at punching the ball out that we've seen in the past 20 years. He gets that. The Buccaneers scored that long touchdown to Mike Evans that I talked about earlier. There's 11 minutes left. You're thinking, here we go. This is the comeback. The Buccaneers got the ball again with 30 seconds left in the game, down 10. I mean, there was an 11-minute long drive by the Washington football team. I think it was 19 plays that just killed the clock. And a big part of it is Tampa Bay just can't cover. They just, I mean, and they have no corners. I mean, they have one starting corner in the game. And I know that's kind of an excuse, but I think if you've been following me, I talk about how underrated having corners is. And when they literally don't have corners, it's going to hurt you. So I'm not that concerned about the defense simply because of the the corner situation. I think that they will get better. The offensive woes are a little bit more concerning for me, but again, there was some flukiness there.
I agree. So, I mean, listen, I think one of the themes of this season is that every NFL team has had a dumb loss so far this year. Every good NFL team. You go through the list. We've looked through all the AFC teams already. The NFC teams all have had kind of dumb losses too, including this team this week. Sometimes it just falls that way. I think it's going to be fine overall, though. Credit to Washington for getting the win.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, Taylor Heineke owns the Buccaneers. I mean, that's what it is. I give him credit. He's got our number.
Yeah. Maybe they should just keep signing him as a backup, and then whenever they play Tampa, he's in.
That's a good move. Yeah, it would be better if I could see that being a Sean Payton thing. Maybe Sean Payton will sign him next year just to get
for
those
2 games. Yeah.
Yeah,
I can see it.
That would be good. Yeah, as a whole, I mean, I think I agree. It's not a concerning loss. Was a disappointing one though.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on. Let's let you go off. Let's let you have a
Oh
good time
yeah.
here. I mean, this was we were talking my your favorite team, the New England Patriots, just blew the brakes off of my preseason Super Bowl pick. Kyle, how you feeling here?
I feel great.
Hmm.
I feel like I just saw some, home baked 4 cheese, panko breadcrumb mac and cheese in the oven. I'm
Uh
ready to go. Maybe throw a little bacon in there. Ooh, that's some good stuff.
okay.
Mac
Hmm.
and cheese, in effect, he had his best game of the season. 3 touchdowns in this one, some really good throws. But the story of this game was the New England Patriots defense, which completely annihilated the Cleveland Browns after the first drive of the game. The Browns went right down the field and scored to start the game. They ran the ball all over us. It looked like it was going to be disaster. All of a sudden, 217 total yards for the game. They only ran. I thought the Patriots just did an amazing job slowing them down. They ate Baker Mayfield alive. That's the third quarterback we've taken out now. Glorious stuff going on that side of the ball. And in the offense, 452 yards, 3 90-yard touchdown drives. Really good stuff from the Patriots. This looks like a team that's going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, the Patriots doubled up the total yards against Cleveland, 452 to 217. I mean, one of the things, this tells the story of the game right here. Patriots 7 for 9 on third downs, Browns 1 for 11.
Yeah.
Right there, that'll tell you the story. I mean, this was domination, and I thought Mac Jones was legitimately a good quarterback. Like in his rookie
Yeah.
season, like that. This should not happen. Like if Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow didn't do what they did last year, we would be going crazy over what Mac Jones is doing this year. I mean, you could still argue like, okay, how much of a playmaker is he? But I still feel like when I watch this guy, it's like this guy could be like legit be like a Derek Carr type quarterback for the next 15 years. Like he has so much potential. The throw to Hunter Henry, where he put the air under it to get it exactly where he had to get rid of it quickly, but still put it on the right money. Put it right on the money. This was an incredible performance by Jones, although he was outdueled by Brian Hoyer, 3 for 3, 85 yards and a touchdown. So Hoyer the Destroyer showing up in a big way.
Yeah, big game for Brian Hoyer and that one drive. So yeah, I mean, this is the interesting thing. So like, I don't know. I just think that he just has like it. And that's really all it is to it. I mean, the guy is incredibly accurate. He had 3 or 4 passes in this game with just the perfect touch every time. And he just consistently does that. And this is the thing we talked about when we both rated him as, I think we both had him at number 3 on our quarterback board.
I had big Kellen Mond fan. I had Mond at
Oh
number
yeah, that's
3.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. You had Mond. I forgot about that. So, but I mean,
But
the
I
first
love
round guys.
Mac Jones.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
just love Kellen Mond too. He's gonna break out.
Hey, he could. Just needs a chance. I mean,
Uh-huh.
so yeah, I mean, I just think, the stuff he's done this season, the way he can anticipate coverages, anticipate blitzes, and just make plays with that is just incredible stuff. I thought he was really good in this game. Ramondre Stevenson, that's your guy.
Yeah.
Ramondre Stevenson with a really good game in this one too, taking over that lead horseback. I mean, I think it's really good stuff. I mean, I've watched I watch every Patriots game, but the last 2 weeks I've watched this Patriots team. Mac Jones is a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. I don't care about injuries. I don't care about any of this other stuff. Mac Jones is better. It's as simple as that.
Who's the worst quarterback you would trade Mac Jones for? Like
Right now,
do you trade Mac Jones for Ryan Tannehill?
right now, no.
Okay. Do you trade Mac Jones for Aaron Rodgers? But age included and everything.
Yeah, I know. So basically saying I get off the rookie contract, but I get Rodgers for 2 or 3 years till he retires. I mean, that's Aaron Rodgers. So I'd probably have to do that, but I don't want to say that as like indicting Matt. I think Mac's amazing. So I'd probably, the usual suspects is who I'd look at. But I mean, obviously I think he's one of the best trade value aspects right now.
Mac Jones for Tom Brady. Where do you go with?
No. I don't need any 40-year-old quarterbacks in my life anymore.
40. I mean, you're making, shaving some years off there.
Well, I mean, he was 40 when he left us, basically 42 when he left us. So.
Yeah. Right. No, very good win I'm joking around. Very good win for the Patriots here, obviously. Flip side, You watched this game closer than I did. Was this just one of those games for the Browns, or did the Browns absolutely stink? I mean, Baker Mayfield barely got over 3 yards per attempt in this one.
I don't know. Like, our defense is nasty, and that's the problem that we're looking at here. Is that because I mean, this team looked perfectly fine last week. Everything looked good. It's like, okay, Odell's gone. Everything's going to be fine though because we're still moving the ball just fine. Dernish Johnson couldn't really hold up the whole game. He had a good first drive, and then after that, didn't really do much. There were some bad drops on the Brown side too that I thought hurt Baker. And I just, yeah, I mean, I just thought it was a bad game. I think the Browns are still going to be fine. I still believe in this team. The one thing that's weird about this team, I think, though, is that they're not really good in coverage. That's the one thing I noticed is that it just seemed like guys were always open. And this is supposed to be an expensive and pretty good coverage unit. And I just don't think that they're very good back there.
Interesting. Yeah. I know part of it too is they like to play this zone. They're a big cover 2 zone team, and to kind of play that base wise. And it's had its very ups and downs, and a good offensive coordinator can beat that. So do you think that's part of what happened was just the Patriots were ready?
Yeah, I mean, I thought McDaniels just had a really good game plan and executed it to perfection. It just seemed like every play was working in this one. But yeah, I mean, they didn't cover very well, and then they had a really scary Troy Hill injury too in this one, neck injury. So hopefully he can get back on the field. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just a bad week overall. And like we said, these teams have had bad weeks, and I think they're overall going to be fine there. Like I said, clean up the drops. And Baker has to play better still. He still had some really bad throws in this game.
Yeah, it's interesting. And then he got hurt towards the end as well. So this is just kind of a mess for the Cleveland Browns. But again, 5-5. There's still hope. Getting to the playoffs. Tampa Bay showed you last year. Even if you're a wild card spot, anything can happen.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, chat, let's not endorse anyone killing themselves in the chat, please. Let's play nice.
Oh, geez, yeah, okay. I think that's an easy ban. I think any kill yourself comments. Yeah, thanks for pointing that one out. All right, let's move on. Come on, chat. Play nice. Let's go to a different one. Let's go Seahawks Packers here. This is the most Seahawks Packers game we've ever seen. I mean, of course, this would be just a complete bonkers game where it's 3-0 for almost the entire game. Russell Wilson ends up with 161 yards on 40 attempts, 2 picks. And again, both of these teams played cover 2. And it's like this weirdest thing where it's like all of a sudden teams play cover 2 and like the quarterbacks are just like, I can't do anything. There is nothing for me to do. 2 safeties are deep. We're just going to lose this game.
It's interesting, isn't it? Is it like just defenses are getting too athletic now that like just the coverage is that good because these defenses are that athletic? I don't know.
Here's what I think is happening. I think teams, it was kind of heading into this year, and it was kind of just the basic thought was teams just play like cover 3 because there was the Seattle cover 3, right? The Legion of Boom that kind of started this. You play cover 3, you play single safety deep, and it's a copycat league. Teams started to follow that. And so then now NFL teams are kind of countering that by saying, okay, who's a receiver who can win on the outside? Who can win towards the sidelines? What are the quarterbacks that have the big arms? And then all of a sudden, teams are starting to play this cover 2. And football strategy is kind of circular, where you then have to figure out how to beat that. And actually, that's kind of why part of me thinks this Packers team might be Super Bowl favorites, them or even like Dallas, because of the way they can attack cover 2. And Green Bay didn't do a fantastic job this game, but part of that is Seattle stops the run well. But this is the team that can run the football well. Dallas is the team that can run the football well. I think these complete offenses might actually be at a pretty big advantage in the year of 2021.
Yeah, that's interesting because there has been kind of an abandon of the running game that we've seen throughout, except for like Tennessee, obviously with Henry. And then we're seeing teams start to, look good through it later in the season, like you said in this one. The big thing in this one is that the Aaron Jones injury didn't sound too good. He had a knee injury late in this game that we'll see what happens with that. But at the same time, AJ Dillon was pretty good coming in relief. He had that insane catch and run too. He had a couple insane plays. I mean, when's the last time we've seen someone drag Bobby Wagner in the end zone?
Right. That was I could not believe that. I saw 54 is on him, he's going down, and then just gets into the end zone. Insane.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's a huge guy at running back,
Hmm.
but still, it's Bobby Wagner, and he just took him. But yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, so I think it's really good stuff for the Packers. I mean, I like this team. I continue to say I really like this team. Um, they're good. It wasn't that convincing earlier in the game, but at the same time, it didn't feel like this defense was threatened at all. Besides the one red zone interception, it just seemed like that the Seattle was not didn't have a chance.
Yeah, I mean, we should also go on the flip side and say the Seahawks did not score a point in this one. If
Yeah.
the Packers scored 1 point, they would have won this game. I mean, this was a not, the, and part of it too, part of why the sloppiness happened is like, listen, Russell Wilson getting back from the injury, Aaron Rodgers did not get to practice all week, so like you do kind of understand there's going to be some rust to shake off, but still, I mean, you gotta get a point at least.
Yeah. I thought Wilson felt like he looked, I guess rusty is the right word. I don't know. His deep
Hmm.
ball looked lifeless. And it's like if Russell Wilson's deep ball doesn't look good, something's not 100%.
Right. Hmm.
That's literally his thing. So
Yeah.
he had a couple up there that it wasn't even just that it was bad throw into coverage. It's that like the ball just like floated. And that's just never what he's been about. So,
Shoot.
oh, just spill your
I
big
went
beer
to
mug.
kill a fly and I knocked the drink off my counter. We're fine. Keep going.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I mean I thought it was a really good game for the Packers defense. That's the big thing.
Yeah. No, it's very, I mean, yeah, the Packers defense, like with all the injuries, they're still playing well. And part of it too is I think they're calling plays very well. Where I say they're playing cover two, but like they don't make it obvious, which that's kind of the move, right? Is you play like 75% cover two, but like you mix things up enough. And the teams have a really hard time stopping that. We also saw, DK Metcalf got kicked out of this game,
Yeah.
which, it happens. Like that's something that happens when your team gets blown out and you don't score any points. Like those situations happen.
Yeah. And cover two is also pretty easy to disguise too. So like you were saying, it creates an interesting matchup. I mean, it was just a really good game. Do you want to apologize to Kevin King?
No.
Big interception today.
Okay, fine.
He's back.
Right. Me, the one Kevin King hater. That's right.
You're the only Kevin King hater I know. No, I'm just kidding. That's funny though. But yeah, good win for the Packers though. They look pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this. Another one of my guys, Eric Stokes. I mean, as I'm assuming Chatter says, so I'll believe it. Eric Stokes didn't allow a catch. I mean, he had one play where Tyler Lockett it was one-on-one to the sideline, and Tyler Lockett does a couple of moves, and it's exactly why speed matters so much for a corner because like it's great moves, and like Stokes is getting beat on each move. But he just like he has the speed to just stick with him, and that's
Mhm.
exactly why you draft him. And my thought was on that play, if Kevin King's on him, that's a touchdown right there. But because you have the speed, it works.
No, I think he's been fantastic. I mean, there's been a lot of rookie quarterbacks that have looked pretty good this year. I've
Yeah.
been impressed with a lot of them. Him especially. I don't think Surtain played this week, but overall he's been pretty good.
Mhm.
So good stuff from that position. And yeah, I mean he's really stepped up to the challenge with Alexander out. So I mean it's been a big thing for them. So it's an interesting game overall though, and I'm not worried about Seattle yet, just because that those last two spots in the NFC playoffs are kind of open. I mean, I
Mhm.
think 5-5 is the second playoff spot right now, if I remember correctly. It's the five
The
and
second
five.
playoff spot, and then the third one I believe goes to. I'm looking at. I think that's or no, yeah, the third playoff spot is 5-5. That's the Panthers.
Yeah. So I
Mhm.
mean, they can easily still make up ground and catch up. They do need to start winning games, obviously, but they can easily
Right.
still make up the ground.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, I would say I'm worried about the Seahawks. I think when you're 3-6, I think it's time to at least be worried.
Yeah, but like I just feel like sure. I mean, I agree, but at the same time, Wilson works his way back into shape. The defense is actually playing better. Like I do think that they can make up the ground. I mean, they're only a game and a half back, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they got some work to do. The nice thing is
Yeah,
their schedule does get easier down the stretch. They do play the Cardinals next week though, so kind of big game. You like you kind of said, like you got to start winning these games though. I mean, you lose another
yeah.
two and you're pretty much done. Well, I guess even if you lose two more, you're not done for because that seventh playoff spot really makes things easier.
I mean, it really seems like 8-9 is going to make the NFC playoffs at this point,
Yeah,
right?
it,
So
it it could. Also, just realize Seahawks at Washington Monday Night Football.
Why?
2 weeks from tomorrow. I don't know what they're doing there.
Yeah. Can't wait. Put it on
Yeah,
your
I guess
calendars.
preseason, it logically made sense. It's just one of those tough ones. Let's move on. Let's go to this one. This was a fun game. Minnesota Vikings beating the Chargers. The Vikings, I almost feel like if you're a Vikings fan, the fact that you win this game is like more annoying than if you just got blown out. Because it just goes to show it's like what you can do if you play up to your potential. Like this is exactly what they wanted to have happen. Justin Jefferson, it's like, hey, maybe give that guy some targets. 143 yards in this one. Cousins plays fine. Dalvin Cook plays fine, but Jefferson was kind of the main story here, and their defense also played very well against Justin Herbert, even though Herbert himself did make some really good throws.
The funny thing is they found the one team that actually can't defend the run at all and said, we're not going to force feed the run against them.
I know.
I don't know how it happened this way. But hey, I love that you're actually targeting Jefferson downfield and getting him some space to make some plays. This was an electric offensive performance. I mean, it was only 27, but at the same time, I thought it was really good. They didn't score on their first possession, which was, the anomaly for them this year. But the rest of the game, they looked really good. So maybe the solution is don't score on your first possession if you're Minnesota.
Yeah, sorry, I'm very distracted. There's a big moth in my office, and I don't know why you keep coming after me. There's a giant light over here. Go to the light. Why are you attacking me?
I don't know the biology of that, man. I'm sorry. Good luck with that.
Okay. Maybe any biologist in the chat can let us know.
Yeah. Here's my question: are we sure the Chargers are good?
No, I feel like I've been banging this drum for a bit now, as I've been they are a very Justin Herbert dependent team.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because it's like Austin Eckler's your next best player. I mean, Keenan Allen's there, but at the same time, like, Eckler's a huge part of this team, and it's like I like Eckler, but I don't know how much I like Eckler, especially as like this, constant lead back. So I don't know. It's just a weird team right now. I do feel like this is one of those year away teams.
I almost get it.
That's funny.
Did not get it. Damn it! I thought I had it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like that this
Jackson
is a team that's
Moth 2021.
Yeah. I lost my train of thought. I think this seems a year away. That's what I was trying to say.
This is the what do you have more faith in? The Chargers making the playoffs or me getting this moth?
Sadly, probably you with the moth at this point. I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
Like, honestly, like, you're going through the playoff teams right now with Baltimore kind of, strengthening its lead in the division. I don't expect Pittsburgh to hang on the 5 seed for the rest of the season.
Right.
I don't know who these playoff teams are right now.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, yeah, I also think you might get some feedback of the Austin Eckler being the second best player of the Chargers. I mean, they do still have Derwin James. They still have Joey Bosa, a couple of good defensive players.
I was looking at the offense. That's wrong.
Okay. Offense, yeah. That's a fair, much more reasonable. How about Rashawn Slater having a good rookie season at tackle?
Yeah, he's played well. He's been a bright spot for the team. But yeah, I mean, I still feel like it's just they're missing a couple pieces still.
Yeah, I think I agree. The flip side for the Vikings, like, I guess, like, again, if the Vikings could just play up to their potential, it's so if they beat the Ravens, and they beat the Cowboys when the Cowboys don't have their starting quarterback, this is the playoff team. They can't seem to get out of it. Hopefully, let's just hope this is them realizing, hey, this is what we can do. The Vikings are becoming one of my arch nemesises because just with what they can do when they are playing up. They play the Packers next week. That should be hopefully a fun game, but hope the Vikings could Viking it up.
This should easily be the 6th seed in the NFC.
Yeah.
And I'm putting them over. Yeah, I'm putting them over the Saints. Yeah, I mean, this team talent-wise should easily be a top 6 team in this conference.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is a talented team. They're just weird. Let's move on. Let's go to. Speaking of weird, I mean, we got to talk about this. A good old tie. We love a tie here. I'm a big tie fan. I was tweeting out during the game, like, this game deserves to be a tie. I said my theory is I think if a game just feels like it's a tie, the refs should at a certain point be able to just say this is a tie. Like it was right after like that big play and ended up in a fumble. I'm like, this is a tie. And it got even more deserving of a tie as the overtime went on. Definitely a very tie game.
Yeah, it's like they were just taking turns saying, "Hey, no, you win. No, wait, you win." It's
Uh-huh.
just like, how ridiculous was this? It was just so stupid watching these two teams try and play this game. And Mason Rudolph and Jared Goff at one point had like 2.7 yards per attempt. And that's
Mhm.
as the game went to overtime. It wasn't like the start of the game.
Right.
I mean, I just both of the guys are in the Gabbard zone. Mason
Mhm.
Rudolph threw the ball 50 times in this game. Listen, I don't care what the situation, the score of a game is. There should never be a situation where Rudolph has to throw the ball 50 times.
Mhm.
Never. No,
No.
never.
Uh,
You might as well just run Najee Harris out of the Wildcat if you're going to do that. I mean, that's just ridiculous. This game was so dumb. I got so mad that I watched this whole thing unfurl.
Wait, yeah, this was a very I mean, I love a game like this. I love when just things get completely chaotic. The Lions actually ran the ball pretty well. Like the Steelers defense isn't great. People think, people have kind of given it, I think, too much credit. And then there's the TJ Watt injury, which that's not gonna make things easier. Um, I don't really know what to say about this. There was maybe the worst attempted field goal in the history
Yeah.
of football in this one. There was absolute chaos, and again, only the Lions could avoid going 0-17 by getting a tie.
So I actually saw this story brought up again, and I knew it as he came out to kick the field goal.
Hmm.
This guy, I don't know if he's played before this year, but I remember from Minnesota, he didn't kick in college. He was the punter in college. He
Okay.
kicked his freshman and sophomore year, and then they deemed him not worthy as a kicker and moved him to punter. And this guy's kicking field goals in the NFL.
And and this is the team that everyone is standing and everyone is saying this is the team that's on the right track.
Yeah, I don't know. This was the scene in Billy Madison where they're doing the trivia game and he has that like 10-minute answer and then at the end the guy responds and says everyone is dumber for listening to this thing. I feel like everybody got dumber watching this entire overtime play out. Everyone's a dumber football fan now after watching this game.
Yeah, this was an experience, I think is the way to refer to this game.
Yeah. This was a mess. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah. Dan Campbell, how do you feel about literally anyone involved in this game?
I feel like he needs to step up more than he has.
Yeah, I think that's very fair by Dan Campbell.
Yeah, I think everyone needs to step up, except for DeAndre Swift, who actually thought had a pretty good game, except for one
Hmm.
big drop at the end. But it's not like Jared Goff was helping him out a whole lot this game.
Right. What a wild one. Let's move on. Let's get off of this. Let's go to how about Panthers Cardinals? Kyle, as Cam Newton said himself, he is back.
He is back. The Panthers might be back. I mean, I don't know. Like
Hmm.
this was kind of weird. They just kind of jumped him, and then all of a sudden, it's like the Cardinals are like, all right, we're just going to take this week off now. I mean, give a ton of credit to the Panthers because they played very well in this game, but it was you know the fumble for the Cardinals, followed by the touchdown, then the turnover or downs for the Cardinals in their own territory. It's like all of a sudden it's 14 nothing, and then there's another interception for Arizona to cap it all off that the Panthers only got 3 points off of. So it's like this game was over before it even started, mostly because the Cardinals kept making mistakes, but at the same time, Panthers also executed, and Cam Newton proves once again he's a good red zone guy.
Yeah, I like. Well, I think my first thought about this game is I know it's still early. Is it time to get a little bit concerned about Colt McCoy as a prospect?
Yeah, I'm a little worried about his future in the NFL. I'm not gonna lie.
Uh huh.
He wasn't too good in this one, and then they had Chris Streveler come in.
I have no idea.
So yeah, I
I'm
mean
lost on the last name.
he was an FCS guy. So I mean,
Okay.
it was a rough game over. I mean, I don't know. It was a rough game for Arizona. Definitely, they probably want to move on and just forget this one.
Yeah, the nice thing for the Panthers is having a garbage starting quarterback. You don't really miss him too much when he goes down.
Yeah, and it's not a huge difference between PJ Walker and Sam Darnold.
Hmm.
So I guess that's the question is, I thought Walker was okay in this one. He didn't do anything amazing, but uh, is Cam Newton the starter going forward? Or do you think this was just, he's going to be this kind of red zone bit?
Yeah, it's interesting. I like the idea of like making him the Taysom Hill guy, right? That makes sense to me. I don't know. My first reaction is like probably like that probably
Yeah.
makes sense. But also the nice thing is, while he learns the playbook, you can still get value for him, right? Because like he just learned, I mean, I guess he maybe knows the playbook, but like if you remember, he didn't start for Matt Rule. Matt Rule ran him out of town for Teddy Bridgewater. So this is a new playbook for him. This isn't the same playbook he's used to. So he does still have to learn it. And while he's learning it, he can at least just do the red zone stuff until he gets there.
Yeah, and the good news is when in doubt, you can get the ball to Christian McCaffrey because Christian McCaffrey had
Mhm.
23 touches in this game and he averaged, doing this math quick off my head, this looks like 7 yards per touch for Christian McCaffrey, which is pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's all he got banged up in this one, but hopefully everything's all right there. This is yeah, I agree. The Panthers are, I guess the Panthers,
In the
like,
playoffs.
I feel better about the Panthers now at 5-5 than I did when they're 3-0 because of the Cam Newton situation. Because I think that they're different with a Cam Newton.
I agree. Like I said, I
Mhm.
don't know if he can be. I don't know if he's like a top half of the league starting quarterback, but he is still very good in the red zone, and
Mhm.
that's it's important to be good in the red zone because that's typically where you score points. Shocking news there. But at the same
Mhm.
time, it's just like if you're good at that, there's definitely going to be a role for you in the NFL, and he's definitely found that. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with him going forward. On the other side, though, I mean, this defense continues to look awesome on the right week. I mean, Shaq Thompson's putting in a very good year. Hassan Reddick with a sack and a half in this one. I mean, they just have dudes across that defense.
Yeah. Well, and also, I mean, it's worth mentioning, like, even if he's just a red zone guy, Panthers 29th in red zone touchdown percentage this year, 28th last year. So they're a bottom 5 red zone team. So them jumping from that to a top 5 red zone team, that'll win you games in the NFL. Like that makes Cam Newton like he could be like a one war player at this point, just from just red zones.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, and that was something that, New England struggled with the year before and actually got better with him there because, anytime it's third and short, fourth and short, you're just going to line up you're going to put multiple offensive line, you're going to put 7 offensive linemen on the field and let him run a quarterback draw. And that's just impossible to defend with the size of him.
Yeah. I think the flip side is, you say every team in the NFL has had a weird loss. I think the Cardinals are maybe the one team you could argue. I mean, I guess how do you define weird? But in terms of like the Cardinals haven't lost a game that's been concerning to me in any way. I feel like this one you can just make the argument of like, listen, like they don't have their two most valuable receivers or two most valuable players on offense with Kyler and Hopkins. It's weird that they won last week. Like it's not weird they lost this week. And then the Packers game was a weird game, but it wasn't like I didn't think they played poorly in that one. So I'm not concerned at all by Arizona's performance.
No, I'm not either. In
Mhm.
fact, there's still some encouraging signs because one of the things that struck out to me when they actually had the ball in this game and had some consistency moving is it seems like Zach Ertz is kind of back-ish. Like he's not
Yeah.
old Zach Ertz, but
Mhm.
he's a decent Zach Ertz. He's 80% of Zach Ertz. And I thought he had pretty good numbers again in this one. I think he's doing a good job.
Yeah, it's a fascinating situation, and also NFL is more fun with Cam Newton in it. It's just one of those things. Cam Newton being in the NFL, even as a Buccaneers fan, where like for me, it's better when the Panthers suck. It's more fun seeing Cam there.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's move on. Let's go to Saints at Titans here. The Titans pull off the victory. It was a close one, but Titans, you know, I'm not sure how good I feel about them still without Derrick Henry. Like their running game has not been good since he's left, which kind of makes you realize how good Derrick Henry really is. But they're still able to pull off a victory here without Julio Jones, without Derrick Henry. They beat the New Orleans Saints, who like played pretty competent football themselves. Mark Ingram is back. That's fun.
Yeah, good game for him replacing Kamara. Um, I thought he was good. I think the one thing that Tennessee has going for them is this defensive line. I feel like is doing a really good job. I feel like this has become a pretty good defensive line group. When it looked like at points this might be one of the worst defenses in the league, all of a sudden it's turning into respectable because they have that defensive line. They have Kevin Byard at the back. There's at least things they can do now, and it seems a lot more competent over each and every week. It seems like it's getting better and better, and they came up with the stops when they needed to in this one.
Yeah, I think that the Titans defense as a whole has been one of the real surprises of 2021. I think they've covered a lot better than I've expected them to. I also would throw this out here. I think that, you look at the names on the Saints receiving core and you're thinking, okay, this is a garbage receiving core. I think they've actually played pretty well. Like they get open, and how much of that is Sean Payton, how much of that is the receivers. But like that's another interesting factor here with the New Orleans Saints is they can get guys open even with maybe not the biggest names.
I think a lot of it's Sean Payton, honestly. I mean, this
Sure.
guy's amazing. I mean,
Mhm.
honestly, he can. I mean, he could probably field a JV team out there and still figure out ways to move the ball.
Mhm.
He's done a really good job in this game. He did a pretty good job in this game, especially in the second half, as New Orleans kind of battled back in this. But yeah, I mean, I still don't know how I feel about the Saints. I still don't, and
Right.
it's kind of
We're
sounds
never
goofy
gonna
to
know.
say, but it's just
Mhm.
like I'm gonna be week 17. This team's in the playoffs, and I'm like, is this team actually good? Like,
Mhm.
like if it had Ben Roethlisberger, I'd say this is one of the worst teams in football. But
Mhm.
instead, Trevor Simeon might be an upgrade at this point. So,
Right.
uh, it's just some weird stuff on that side. I have one question:
Okay.
Did did Jenkins actually change his name to Jack Rabbit?
I don't think he's actually done it. I think that he said he's going to, but I keep hearing I saw on the graphic on the bottom of the screen they just put Jack Rabbit Jenkins, which I think that's Chad Ochocinco maybe didn't have to actually change his name. He could have just said I'm going to.
Did he go to South Dakota State? Does he like Jack Rabbit? I don't understand it. Like, what is a Jack Rabbit? Like, are they fast?
I'm not exactly sure what a Jackrabbit is.
I thought it was just a bigger rabbit or rabbits named.
Okay. It
I don't
sounds
know.
fun.
I guess.
Yeah. I mean,
I
it's
don't
not the
know.
most intimidating thing, I feel like,
No, it's not. I don't
but
know.
it's a fun thing. Maybe it's because he thinks he considers himself like cute and cuddly. Maybe that's why he's saying it.
Might be a great icebreaker, with the ladies or something. I don't know. Very interesting situation because he made the big breakup in the end zone on the 2-point conversion, and they say Jack Rabbit Jenkins, and I think I already knew it in the back of my mind, but
Mhm.
very very weird shtick to say I'm Jack Rabbit.
How would that be beneficial with the ladies? What's the line here with if your name is Jack Rabbit? How are you picking up a girl at the bar with the name Jack Rabbit?
Hey, I'm Jack Rabbit. I'm cute and cuddly, like you said.
I guess
No,
I
I
mean I
don't
think
know.
that the hey I play in the NFL I think would maybe work better.
I don't know. I'm sure he could figure it out. It seems
Okay,
like
well
he not a terrible looking guy.
sure. Jack Rabbit, if you need any dating advice, I think Kyle is ready to help you out.
No, I'm not, but go right ahead, man.
Yeah. All right. What the hell are we talking about, Kyle?
I don't know. This got derailed so bad. Good job on the Titans for holding
Yeah,
this one
Saints
off.
Titans. All right, let's try to get it together here. Trevor Simeon. Trevor Simeon's played solid. I thought he played well. They almost came back and tied it at the end there. They couldn't get the 2-point conversion with the penalty there, which that's always tough. In those situations, I almost feel like I would rather like them to not count penalties on the 2-point conversion, just because like it's more entertaining that way. I know you can't do it, but like that would make it more fun. Uh, Entertaining game. I think that for the Saints, you've proven that you can hang with a good team, and for the Titans, you've proven you can hang with a good team without the Derrick Henry. So I think it's a good, sort of a good game for both teams.
So this is a pretty interesting point. So Trevor Simeon, Jameis Winston played 4 more games right now than Trevor Simeon. Obviously the injury was in his 7th game, which was Simeon's first game, so that messes up a little bit. Jameis Winston has had 161 pass attempts to 104 for Simeon, and then Simeon has more yards per game. Obviously, he doesn't have an interception this season where Winston had 3, and the quarterback ratings are pretty close to equal. I mean, has Simeon played better than Jameis this year? Because it kind of feels like he has.
I don't know if I would say he's played better, but I do think he's played about the same. Like I think it's kind of just the thing where it's like Taysom or Sean Payton can just get like a replacement level quarterback and make him like run the offense well. I don't understand the Saints. I just don't understand them. They can get no receivers, get a quarterback off the streets, and have him throw for 8 yards per attempt a game. It makes zero sense to me. I just don't understand how Sean Payton, clearly like the greatest of all time, I guess, because I just don't understand how he consistently does this.
Yeah, I really want to see them just go fully into it and like get like a D3 quarterback and then see if they can make this work.
Yeah, I like that. Maybe just, if there's ever a year where you're missing the playoffs, just like see how bad of a quarterback you can get and still like play competently.
Yeah, pretty crazy stuff though. But yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, uh, I don't know. Anything else you want to add on Tennessee?
Nope.
All right.
All
Moving on.
right, let's move on. Again, good win for Titans, 8-2, best record in the NFL. Good for them. Let's go Bills Jets here. Tough loss for the Whiteys here.
Tidy Whiteys are struggling after this game. It appears
Uh-huh.
he is not actually the best quarterback of all time, contrary to popular belief.
Mhm.
He struggled. He struggled in this game. The Jets struggled in this game. And, the Bills continue to, beat the crap out of bad teams. So they got that going for them. Joe Flacco sighting, though.
Yeah, who didn't struggle? The elite quarterback, elite dragon Joe Flacco, over 15 yards per attempt, Kyle. That's leading the NFL.
What a stud. I mean, he's so back. I can't get any better than him.
Joe Flacco, the god himself, has arisen once again. This is like the most predictable outcome in the world, right? Is that Mike White comes in and just completely shits the bed against a good football team.
Yeah, and the Bills coming off a disgusting loss, really bounced back. I thought the biggest one in this one was Stephon Diggs. I feel like he kind of needed to beat up on somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Figuratively, not literally. So he
Mm-hmm.
comes in and beats the crap out of the Jets and kind of needed a bounce back week.
Yeah, I thought that for the right, this is definitely a good one for the Bills, and I will say like it's not Mike White's fault. It's just like this isn't a good offense. Like this is like you're throwing him. I actually think that if I'm a team, like I'm giving Mike White a contract next year. I'm seeing what I can get with Mike White. I'm not paying him to be a starter, but he's someone who I would want to just sort of see what he has maybe as a backup or at least in the preseason.
Well, it was partially his fault today. He had some.
It wasn't not his fault, but he wasn't the solution, but he wasn't like the problem either. He wasn't entirely the problem.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so. I guess now that we have to re-power rank the Jets quarterbacks, it's LinkedIn star Josh Johnson 1,
Okay.
elite quarterback Joe Flacco 2,
Mm-hmm.
number 2 boss Zach Wilson 3, and then Tidy Whitey 4. Right?
Okay. That's your 4.
That's my updated Jets quarterback power rankings.
Uh-huh. Okay. I like the here I have a conspiracy theory. Zach Wilson was maybe able to play this week. Could you have seen maybe there being like Robert Saleh being like, let's throw Mike White to the Wolves. Let's do this. You can go up against Buffalo. We'll let you play Miami next week.
It could be.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be funny if Xavier Howard gets like 3 picks next week.
Uh-huh.
Here's an interesting question. If the Jets were offered right now Mac Jones for Zach Wilson, do you think they'd say yes?
Do I think they say yes? I think no. I think me personally, I would stick with Zach Wilson. I like Mac Jones. But I expected this from Mac Jones. Now I didn't expect this from Zach Wilson, but I just think the goal when you draft a quarterback is not to get a good quarterback. The goal is to get an elite quarterback. And I still think that there's a better chance Zach Wilson becomes a top 5 quarterback in the NFL than Mac Jones at this point.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
I still think he can be elite, but we'll see. Obviously, there's a whole lot of variables that go into these guys.
You don't agree. You can disagree. It's fine. Go ahead. Why do you disagree?
I think Mac Jones has just as much capability of being elite. It's just a different kind of elite. He's not going to be the Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers kind of elite. It's going to be, the touch, the accuracy, the ball placement. Those are high level throws that he can make. It's just a lot from the pocket. It's not gonna drop anyone's jaws really.
Sure, I agree. It's a Drew Brees style of stealing as opposed to an Aaron Rodgers style of stealing. That's the thing. But I just think I'm kind of the belief it's like I shouldn't. If I fell in love with Zach Wilson during the draft process, I should trust my process there and how much time and effort I put into that, and not back off of that just because of 5 games. That's how I feel about it.
I think that's fair. It's still too early. Obviously this wouldn't come up between conversations between the teams, but
right.
I think it's interesting. Like if you had this many weeks of tape, would you reevaluate it or would you stick with your guns basically?
Yeah, it's a very fascinating situation. I would say I think that there are going to be some Jets fans who would say, yeah, I'd pull the trigger and make the trade.
I think there would be plenty of fans around the NFL that would say, yeah, that's a good trade for the Jets.
Yeah, I think so. I think it would be fascinating. How would you feel if that trade happened?
I mean, I basically married Mac Jones since his June before his senior Alabama or his last Alabama season. So I bet on the guy to win Heisman, and I've gone through this entire thing. I feel like I can't quit him now.
What if Mac Jones Bill Belichick calls you. He says, "Listen, we got a trade offer. All right, Denver's offering us a ton of picks. We get trade Mac Jones. They're going to throw in Tim Patrick. What do you do?"
Tim Patrick, ooh. I got to keep my guy, Mac Jones, forever.
Keeping the mac and cheese. Again, we kind of cut off the rails. What are we doing? For the Bills, this was a great, I watched this game oh yeah, Josh Allen, when he's at his best, is the best player in football. Like, when he's good, Josh Allen is the best quarterback in football. He might not be as consistent as some other guys, but, like, when he's at his best, I'll take him over anybody.
I think he's definitely in the conversation. Yeah, I mean, it's so hard, though, because he's so electric, isn't he? Like, just the arm, the way he can move. I mean, it's really just impossible to defend him sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I guess, him, Mahomes, what do you want to go? But, he's one of those guys where it's like, when he's at his best, you're losing.
Yeah. No, I agree. So, I mean, good performance for him, good performance from the Bills. But this is kind of what we expect from this team. Beat the crap out of the Jets. You shouldn't, this team can't hang with you.
Yeah, I'm confused by this comment. Someone is mad the Patriots have Mac Jones. Is that supposed to be me? I'm mad at the Patriots have Mac Jones? I'm not mad the Patriots have Mac Jones. I think this podcast is a lot more interesting when both our teams are good.
Yeah, that's true. So, I don't know.
I don't know.
I think the rest of the NFL is salty is really what it is. It's Patriots against the world again, baby.
Yeah,
I'm ready to drink their tears when we're in the Super Bowl.
Okay. You wonder why people don't love Patriots fans. Yeah, no. I mean, I've always kind of been neutral towards the Patriots. I don't hate them. I don't love them. I kind of just even before we got Brady, I was kind of I'm glad they beat the Panthers and the Falcons in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely a docile. You're not a Patriots hater. There are some, but you're not one of them.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy seeing the Patriots lose, but that's just being a football fan. I'm imagining most people enjoy seeing the Buccaneers lose. I think that would be normal. Let's move on. 4 games left. Let's go Jaguars Colts right here. Why don't we? I'm realizing I didn't put these in any order, but we kind of talked about this. I was saying there might be some upset potential. I didn't really expect it to be like this necessarily. I think for the Colts, it's okay, letting the Jaguars get some sort of attack against you. If Jamal Agnew had that big run, that kind of stuff. If that happens, you don't have the best defense. I think maybe a more concerning thing for me is only putting up 23 points and Carson Wentz only 180 yards on 34 attempts against this defense. But the flip side is, Kyle, is the Jaguars defense getting better? I mean, they actually played pretty well. I thought there was times when, they'll let them play man coverage sometimes, and they're getting better. This is an improving Jaguars team, which is what you want from a roster like this.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think they are. Now, that being said, Jonathan Taylor had 100 yards in a blink of an eye. But at the same time, I think that they are getting better. I think that they made some decent moves. I thought they did pretty good in coverage today. But yeah, I mean, I still wouldn't put it as a great defense. They made some plays. This was kind of a weird game. It seemed like the Colts went up 17-0 almost. Was it 17-0 or 14-0?
I believe it was 17-0.
Yeah, it seemed like the Colts went up 17-0 and just kind of turned on cruise control and fell asleep.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I mean, I thought that I think to some degree, for sure, I thought that the Jaguars made nice adjustments. I like that they're not afraid to play man coverage, even when they don't. I think that the fact that they're willing to actually play a little bit more aggressive shows they have a little bit more confidence in these young secondary players. Also, unrelated, but just to clear up the comment I talked about, Mac Jones plays good, and now you're suggesting they trade him. Yeah, you're mad, and New England is going to dominate once again. I did not suggest New England should trade him. That was Kyle's point. So
it was a hypothetical question I threw at him that would the Jets consider the trade?
Right. It was more about the Jets than anything, I felt like.
Yeah. So, Anyway, yeah.
Anyways,
back to the
now
story.
we've got through the huddle. Again, we do appreciate the comment. We're having some fun with you, Negan. But moving on, yeah, back to this. I thought that, I mean, I thought that this is a solid performance from the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars they're growing and getting better.
Yeah, and this is kind of like when I said that they had some preseason like buzz. Is like this is kind of what
Mm-hmm.
I envision this team kind of doing all right at. Is that they'll be able to move the ball a little bit. The defense will slowly get better, and maybe they'll make things interesting, or at least be a fun team to watch. And I thought they made this a fun game at the very end.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of all you can hope for. Lawrence did have that fumble at the end there. That's no good, but again, is what it is. One play, who cares? And I thought for the Colts, I mean, how do we feel? I still don't really know exactly how to feel about the Colts. I guess I kind of do. They're a team with an inconsistent quarterback, so you're going to get some variance, and they don't have a great defense or a great receiving core. But they have good line play, is what I'll say. They do well at the line of scrimmage. It's sort of the outside where they've struggled, which is kind of why we've seen, some them have some really good weeks and some really bad weeks.
Yeah, I mean, they have basically maybe since Henry went out, the best running back in football. Is that a hot take?
I think it's a bit hot, but I don't think it's wrong.
I mean, I guess as a runner, obviously McCaffrey and everything he does and Kamara, everything he can do is a different variable altogether. Those are more offensive weapons. But as a pure runner, Taylor might be the best in the league now that Henry's out. And it's like they have that, and that's kind of it, But it's kind of working because they had this game plan of they're going to use him. They're going to use him and throw him in the passing game every now and then. And then these guys like Pittman, Mo Alley, Cox can make enough plays. Carson Wentz terrifies me. But at the same time, he's the numbers back up that he's been pretty good this year. And he's still playing pretty good football. He didn't have an awesome game today, but it was good enough, I thought. The coverage thing is weird, right? They just tight ends kind of eviscerate this team, it seems like. Dan Arnold had a huge second half, and that just kind of got this Jaguars offense going.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real issue. I mean, we saw the Jets were dominant against them throwing the ball. I mean, with bad talent. I mean, with a really untalented team, they were able to move the ball. And you could argue some of it was garbage time, but it wasn't all garbage time. I think another thing we have to point out with the Colts that's concerning is the Colts won this game because they won the special teams battle. I mean, the Jaguars missed a field goal. In fairness, they made a 56-yarder, so you could argue that's kind of a push. But there was the block punt touchdown. I mean, the block punt touchdown is about as fluky can get. And you end up winning this game by 6 points. Who knows what happens if that doesn't happen? It's a whole different game. But I mean, the Jaguars outgained the Colts in this one. It wasn't obvious watching this game that the Colts were clearly the better team. The Jaguars would probably play some. You know who the Jaguars remind me of? The first year with Brian Flores in Miami, where they start off horrible. People are saying worst team in the league, and I think they're going to end up winning a few games down the stretch, maybe even beating the Patriots and not allowing them to get a bye.
Wow. You just had to throw that in there. I mean, the thing is, yeah, so obviously Colts got off to a big lead, but at the same time, the Jaguars with a minute 2 left had the ball at the Colts 46 with the chance to win the game. So, obviously the fumble ended it there, but at the same time, they were right in the game. So, yeah, I mean, kudos to the Jaguars and, good on the Colts for getting the win. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely unconvincing.
Yeah, we'll see. It should be interesting. Colts play the Bills next week. If they lose by 20, are you feeling good about the Colts?
Maybe. I don't know.
I mean,
Probably, obviously you don't feel good about
I was making a joke.
loss.
You want to stay within 20.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. It's just I feel like the playoff spots are open for them, but at the same time, I don't know if half these teams are good, and I don't know if they're one of those teams that are good. I feel comfortable about 5 teams in the AFC.
You did draft them kind of early in the draft, just saying.
Didn't I take them 7th, 6th?
Kind of early. That's a playoff spot.
Yeah, and I think they can make the playoffs, but I think they're significant. If I had to put a line on teams I think are good in the AFC, I'm putting a line at them, separating them from that Baltimore, New England, Kansas City, Buffalo. Who's the other team? Tennessee. That's definitely my good AFC teams. They're probably just below that with a smorgasbord of teams.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And then Colts, Bills, and Buccaneers next 2 weeks. So they got their work cut out for them. Should be interesting. 3 games left. Let's go Falcons at Cowboys here. Cowboys just dominated this
Yeah.
one from the jump. I mean, this is kind of why I say like are the Cowboys like I think we've been taking them seriously, but it's time to like really take them seriously as like a real Super Bowl contending team.
I heard all week about Dan Quinn going back to Atlanta. That the Atlanta is going to be all prepared for his defense. They didn't look too prepared for the defense, I got to say.
No.
Josh Rosen sighting in this one, but I mean overall, it was just
it was such
game.
a Josh Rosen stat line: 1 for 6, 14 yards and a pick.
Yeah, I mean,
just incredible.
It was a really bad. I mean, this team needs Calvin Ridley back. It really does because I mean the group of guys behind him. It's like after Kyle Pitts, the most targeted receivers were Frank Darby had 3, Russell Gage had 3, Cordarrelle Patterson had 2, Wayne Gallman had 2, and then Olamide Zaccheaus had 7. I don't know if I said that name right. I'm sorry.
I was going to challenge you to try to pronounce it. I'm glad you did a great job at A for effort.
A for effort, definitely. But yeah, I mean, there's just not playmakers on this team besides basically Pitts and Patterson, and Dallas kind of removed Patterson from this game.
Yeah, really fascinating stuff. The Cowboys defense is playing well. And I mean, the flip side is, Dak Prescott, who like Dak's in the MVP consideration. Again, it's wide open. Like Dak's got a legit chance to win it, especially with the numbers he's putting up. He had nearly 10 yards per attempt in this one with a pair of touchdowns. And the, running game, the numbers aren't spectacular, but they're able to get enough going there. So for a disappointing week last week, we kind of said it was more of a fluky loss, and I think this proved it with a 43-3 victory. And they were up 28-3, which is disrespectful. That was rude of Dallas. They should have gone for 2.
Should have gone for 2. How dare they? Yeah, I mean, this was a good performance. You feel good about it. I got to say, going through, I was thinking about this the other day with our last year's podcast. I'm going to go ahead and take a victory lap on the CD Lamb best receiver in that class. I mean, Justin Jefferson's there too. And obviously, I don't think either of us picked Justin Jefferson.
No.
But of those top 3 guys, I'm going to say, seeing how one's basically in prison and the other can't stay healthy, I'm going to go ahead and take the win for CD Lamb.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I think I even remember when we had those conversations, you're like, CeeDee Lamb, someone who's probably not going to murder anybody.
Yeah, that's exactly
that was a big selling point.
I mean, he murders people on the field, specifically defensive backs, but,
Sure, yeah.
Nowhere else.
Right, that we know of.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, all right. Yeah, good win for the Cowboys. Falcons, I posed the question, should we take them seriously? You said no, and you were absolutely right.
Yeah, I'm still not taking this team seriously. I can't wait to see them Thursday. We can have a bunch of video montages of the Super Bowl. It's going to be really good stuff. I'm looking forward to it. Should be fun.
Yeah, poor Falcons fans. You know what? Braves just won a World Series, though, so hopefully you're baseball fans as well.
Listen, it's like 45 minutes. 45 minutes to Athens. You got the number 1 team in college football. The Braves won the World Series. Who else is there? Atlanta United won a championship like 4 years ago. You're fine.
Thrashers looking good.
Thrashers are, non-existent. The Jets are okay, I think.
Yeah, there you go. Winnipeg Jets. Maybe if you followed them.
Who else is there?
Wait, that does not count. You can't say, hey, the Winnipeg Jets look decent. The team that moved away from Atlanta.
Yeah, that's true. That's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Hey, Atlanta had a good the Hawks had a good playoff run.
Sure.
Eastern Conference Finals, you got Trae Young. You have good music, there's rappers there.
I think it's fair to feel bad for Falcons fans. I think that's a fair
Little
thing.
Migos to help you feel better.
Let's move on. Let's go to Eagles at Broncos. I think the headliner of this one, so all we got left is the Thursday night game. Usually we get to the Thursday night game earlier. It's going to be the last one. But the Eagles taking on the Broncos. I think the headliner from this game is, Eagles up 7 points. It's a 4th down and 1. The Broncos go for it. It looks like Melvin Gordon might have it, but then he fumbles the football. It gets picked up by Darius Slay, and Teddy Bridgewater makes a business decision, elects to not make a tackle on Slay allows the return for a touchdown, which basically iced the game there.
Yeah. It certainly wasn't a good look. But you know what also isn't a good look? Your defense allowing 230 rushing yards. That's certainly not something you want to do week in and week out. I mean, that's on the verge of, Urban Meyer's elite game plan. So I definitely don't recommend doing that. I thought Hurts played good in this game. Let me do proper grammar. I thought Hurts played well in this game. So, I thought good stuff overall from the Eagles. And, I mean, I don't necessarily blame Teddy for the loss because of that.
I mean, I don't blame him for the loss because of it. Like, I thought Teddy actually played fine, but like, I mean, you got to make that tackle. I mean, what do you do? Like, if you're literally just not trying to win football games at this point by not making a tackle. I mean, that's what he like. And listen, I think there's a time and a place for someone to make a business decision. Like, I'm not someone who says like you should always like. No, sometimes you should avoid the contact when you're a quarterback. That's something you shouldn't do. But in that situation, I mean, you can't just lose the football game because you don't want to make a tackle. And you're making a tackle. It's not like you're getting tackled.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. But I mean, there's certainly been quarterbacks to do a lot more egregious stuff is the thing. But they've also been criticized. So yeah, I mean, I guess Teddy Bridgewater deserves to be criticized for it.
I mean, yeah, okay, Henry Ruggs killed a woman. Okay, like doesn't mean we can't criticize Teddy Bridgewater for not making a tackle.
Yeah, no, I get it. So yeah, I mean, I think overall though, I mean, I don't know. The Broncos didn't look good in this game. That was a big takeaway for me is once again, another winnable game for the Broncos that they look crappy. It's like outside of last week, they've only beaten bad teams.
Yeah, I mean, this is another tough one for Denver. I mean, again, they were competitive with the Eagles, which honestly, maybe that's not great when you're trying to make the playoffs. But like you said, it's like, okay, I know that part of it is you're another one of those teams that likes to make sure you defend the pass, and they did a decent job at that, although not spectacular. Jalen Hurts had a bad interception in this one, did play well outside of that. But like, yeah, I mean, you can't, Jordan Howard, 83 yards on 12 carries. Boston Scott, 7.4 yards per carry, 81 yards on 11 carries. So like both those guys together averaged over 7 yards per carry. That's not an expert. That's not good.
That's bad. Yeah. They did not stop the run at all. So yeah, I mean, you're just not going to win a lot of football games like that. It's as simple as that. I don't know. Like, where are you at with this Eagles team? I guess that's my question. Are you like, they're right there in the mix? Like, is this a playoff team?
I don't think so. The nice thing they have, though, is they have a relatively easy schedule down the stretch. I mean, they have winnable games. So to play the Saints, so I would probably chalk that up as a loss. I'm assuming they'll be underdogs, but that's a game you can win. And then you play the Giants twice this season. You play the Jets. You play the Balls twice. And then you have a game week 17 against the Cowboys. Who knows? Maybe Dallas will be resting their starters. Like, it's not out of the question that this team could win 9 games, which, as we said, that'll probably get you to 7th seed. The Eagles have a chance to make the playoffs. They're not a playoff team, I don't think. I think there's just too many flaws in this team. But they're a team that could make the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, literally, like, outside of the Lions, who are 0-8-1, it's like Panthers 5-5, Vikings 4-5, Falcons 4-5, Eagles 4-6, 49ers 3-5, Balls 3-6, Giants 3-6, Seahawks 3-6, Bears 3-6. It's like every team in the NFC is still in the mix except for the Lions. How wild is that?
I think I saw there was in the Hunt graphic, and literally there were 15 total teams in the NFC that were on the graphic because of how open that 7 seed is.
Do you think 8 wins makes the playoffs this year?
I said this. So I remember we had this conversation a lot last year with the NFC East. And it was like, okay, can 6 wins win the division? Can 7 wins win the division? And I kind of kept saying, like, okay, one of these teams is going to pull away and eventually win 9 games. So that'll probably be what happens. I feel the same way about this. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but you feel like, okay, the Vikings, the Panthers, the Eagles, I guess the Seahawks, one of these teams is going to get on a hot streak, but that doesn't mean that they're going to. Like, I would assume that would happen, and I would assume it would take 9 wins at least to get there. But you could see a sub 500 team, which would be 8-9 getting in.
Yeah, I think I agree. I guess what the one thing with this Eagles team is, there's a few things that they're good at. Like I don't really know what the Bears are good at. except
Right.
for having Khalil Mack on your team.
Hmm.
I think that there's at
Khalil
least a few.
Herbert. They're good at having Khalils.
Yeah, that's true.
Hmm.
I think you can look at this Eagles team and say, you know what? Good defensive line. They're going to run the ball like crazy, and on the right scheme, they're going to dominate. You
Hmm.
know, and I think that the last 2 weeks they've shown on the right defensive scheme, this offense is going to look really good. Um, so I mean, they might be a playoff team. I don't know. I don't see it though.
Yeah. Javonte Williams looked good for the Broncos. Got that?
I think he's been pretty good this year. I think he's
Hmm.
really come along as a rookie running back, and I like what he's been doing this year too.
Yeah. So again, for Denver, we kind of know, like, hopefully you get Aaron Rodgers next year. That's the hope for a Broncos fan.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Final game. This was, maybe one of the upsets of the week, maybe the upset of the week, either this or my team losing to the Balls. You have it's a very fascinating game. This is kind of what we talked about a little bit with the Baltimore struggles against man coverage because they don't have receivers who can consistently beat man coverage. Rashad Bateman played solid, but they don't have guys who can really dominate in that situation. And Miami just played like cover zero, like half of the snaps. It was one of the more interesting game plans I've ever seen.
Yeah, poor Luke Brown's been in the chat waiting for this, and all of a sudden we spring it on him last.
Uh,
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like, I guess we'll start on the Ravens side. Like, if they play like this team, or if they play like the Patriots or something like that, is this team just kind of screwed? Like, it just kind of seems that way, right?
Yeah, it just feels like they are so scheme dependent of if a team plays man coverage, and especially if a team like plays man coverage and is good against the blitz, it's like you're just going to dominate the Ravens. Like there's no
Yeah,
answer.
yeah. I mean, Lamar can only do so much. I feel like this is another team. It feels kind of Chargers-ish, where it's like this team is way too. This team is way too Lamar dependent right now.
Yeah,
Shout out
I
to
just
Luke.
for the audio only listeners who are probably confused, I put up the Luke Brown fins up, dolphin emoji, dolphin emoji, dolphin emoji, Super Bowl bound. Looks like a smoke out of nose emoji, surprise face emoji, squiggly face emoji, and then bicep emoji.
All right. Well, that's a lot of emojis, but
uh,
yeah, I mean, I don't know. And then the other side of this is that they can't cover. They really can't cover. And I said this a little bit last week, and it comes back this week. Tua torched them. Tua, give credit to Tua. He played really well. But this
mhm,
team can't cover anybody right now. Like, was Marcus Peters that important? Like, Marlon Humphrey is supposed to be a stud. I
mhm.
don't know how much they went at him in this game, but at the same time, like, one cornerback shouldn't derail the entire defense, right?
Right. No, you're right. I mean, this is granted, they are built around their corners, but you are right. Like giving up over 10 yards per attempt, 158 yards on 13 attempts by Tua. Even when Brissett was in there, it was 156 yards on 23 attempts. So only 11 completions. So that was kind of a weird stat line by Brissett. But I don't disagree. I think that they do need to they need to play better defense, but at the same time, they gave up 22. I mean, they lost this game, and in 16 of those, I think wasn't one of those even a defensive touchdown as well. So like they lost this game because of their offense inability to have receivers get open against man.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. It was a
Mm,
fumble return for a touchdown, by the way.
that's right.
I
Yeah.
think Watkins fumbled it. Yeah. So,
Yeah, it
yeah,
did.
I mean, it was it was a weird game for the Ravens. Like I said, every team in the AFC's had basically a stupid loss now, so they're all on a clean slate now. But yeah, I mean, I think that the problem is that when I look at this team compared to like Tennessee, I feel
Hmm.
like there's much more glaring holes in this team compared to the Titans, right?
Yeah, but the counter is there's also the upside of if Lamar goes off. Like that's kind of the one thing they have is they have the better quarterback. Like
Yeah.
that's what they have. Really, I mean, what Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and maybe you argue Justin Herbert, but like Lamar is going to have at least an even or better odds at the most important position out of anyone else in the AFC. So that's the counter argument.
Yeah. And the good news is that they're probably going to win the division because those teams are starting to fall off a little bit.
Hmm.
Since the Steelers somehow still there, but don't trust that team. So, but
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, it was a bad game for them, but yeah, I mean, overall, give credit to the Dolphins for winning this one too. I mean, I thought they did
Yeah.
good, and like I said, Tua with maybe his best performance of the year.
Yeah, this kind of I think we both sort of fought back against this Brian Flores getting some criticism for the way the season's gone. Brian Flores is a good head coach, and the Miami Dolphins, like he's the best thing they have going for them is Brian Flores, probably.
Yeah. And I really think Tua kind of needed this with how this season's going because, I mean, the talk behind it of him getting traded, bringing in a new quarterback and just I feel like there's just been a stench around this team and I feel like they needed something.
Yeah, Tua hasn't played horrible. I mean, really hasn't. I mean, he's had a couple of games now where he's had passer ratings over 100. Like I still think it's a fair thing to say, like, okay, maybe Tua's not the solution, but he's certainly not the problem, and he's had some solid performances. So, like Tua's, he had a bad statistical game against the Bills, but I thought he actually played fine in that one. I thought he played pretty well against Atlanta. So, like, he's put together some decent games, and we do expect rookie quarterbacks or young quarterbacks to get good in a hurry. Like, that's not how it works all the time.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think he's fine. I think he needs it seems to me like he needs the right team around him kind of thing. Like,
Sure.
He's not going to be like a guy like Herbert who's kind of carrying that team right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think if he has the right pieces around him, he can be pretty good. And they'll have to improve this offensive line going forward, obviously. I mean, the problem is too, I've said it a few times. It's like if you took stock of like the worst like 15 throws of the year, Tua might have 5 of them. So
Yeah.
I mean that adds to it.
Sure, yeah, that's the thing, and again, it's a fascinating situation, but good for Tua playing well. I still would stand by. It's like, listen, if you have an opportunity to get a great quarterback, you probably make the move, but you got some more time to see what Tua does. Luke Brown, Tua coming for MVP trophy, Waddle Rookie of the Year. There you go. So Luke Brown all the way pumped up.
I don't think either of those are going to happen, but I love the optimism.
Yeah, I think another thing is that blind optimism wins again. So there you go. Luke Brown, very pumped up. Also, this is unrelated, but one final thought before we head out. The fact that Nate Hobbs has gotten no like buzz for defensive rookie of the year is absurd to me.
Yeah.
Like there's been like no front runner. He's been like a really good slot corner as a rookie, and people are like, hey, he was a 6th rounder or whatever.
Yeah, it just the narrative doesn't seem to back him up. Did he come back in the game, by the way? Because he got hurt. I didn't
I'm
see.
not
Did
sure.
he come back?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's probably going to end up being Parsons, honestly. Like,
What a surprise! The first drafted defensive player is going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year again. What a shock!
Yeah, I mean, I think Parsons has been good, but at the same time,
he's been good.
I don't know if he's been the best, like most impactful rookie this season.
Right. I don't know. I mean, the Hobbs should be in the conversation. Like I was looking at the odds. Like he literally isn't even on the chart.
Yeah. No, I think I agree with that. But yeah, I mean, especially, slot corner is not really like a position of premium too. And so I think that there's just a few things that are going against him why you probably won't win. But I mean, he's been a really good player. I think that's the big thing that's been really surprising is we've seen some tight ends and corners typically are notorious for being positions that take a little bit to be like pan out. And we've seen some good tight ends and corners this year. Stokes has been good. Surtain's been good. Horn before his injury had moments too, I thought too.
I thought Horn was, I mean, if we're going to say Surtain was good, I think Horn was much better. I mean, Horn was really good before he got hurt.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that there's been really nice pieces on at defensive back. I think there's been nice tight ends. I think that there's even, defensive tackle. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Maybe not defensive tackle.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's not true at all.
Yeah. Tight ends, though, and corners, though, are definitely positions that defensive rookies typically struggle, and they've been good this year.
Yeah. No, it's been fun, been a very fun, fun season. I mean, so up in the air. Who knows what's going to happen? Kyle, let them know where they can find us before we head out.
Yeah, make sure to follow us on Twitter. That's at Jackson Kruger on Twitter. Make sure to follow him. Make sure to follow me at by Kyle Grondin on Twitter. That's at by Kyle Grondin. Then make sure to follow the account page at On the Sideline JK. That's at On the Sideline JK.
Yes. Thank you to everyone who was watching live or watching after the fact, or listening on the audio. We appreciate all of you. Kyle, any final thoughts before we head out?
Like I said, really good week of football. What's going on tomorrow? It's the California teams, isn't it? Rams.
49ers,
Niners.
Rams. You're locked. You locked up the Rams. I believe it's -4. How you feeling?
Pretty good. I don't know.
Mhm.
I think the Rams should definitely win that by a touchdown. Those I don't know why I locked at those damn nerds in California, man. Can't
Uh-huh.
take it. Don't know why anyone would want to watch that one. No, I'm just kidding. Should be a good game though. I think the Rams are due for a big one.
Yeah, that should be a fun one. I don't know. I mean, hey, Kyle Shanahan has something to prove as well. He's gotten on a hot seat a little bit.
He should definitely be on the hot seat, but I think he'll get another year still. But it'll be an interesting game.
Yeah, should be fun. So probably have a video out for that. So stay tuned for that. And Kyle, will you have a video on your YouTube channel about it?
My YouTube channel that doesn't exist, make sure to tune in.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of highlight videos on there, breaking down a lot of stuff, burning the midnight oil to keep that running.
Yes. All right. Thank you to everyone again. We do appreciate it. I did not check and see if I got any. I forgot to check and see if I got any good suggestions for an outro. That was bad. That was bad on me. Did not read the comments last week.
I only saw one and it said good night and good luck. Isn't that from a movie? Is that from Good Morning Vietnam? No.
I don't know. It's not the best. I don't think.
Well, we can keep workshopping it. If anyone has an outro, let us know. Let us know in the comments if you stuck around for this. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I think. What about just like I usually want to end my videos with it, and of course, as always, thanks for watching. What if I just say like, of course, as always, thanks for listening? Right? It's a podcast that could work.
Yeah, that's true. What about see you later, alligator?
I like that. All right. Yeah, that's where we're going. So thank you again for watching. We do appreciate it or listening. And of course, as always, see you later, alligator.
Peace.